Hello, everyone. Hello, Jamey Stegmeyer.
Hello. We got we're the Blue Brothers today.
We are the Blue Brothers Day. As soon as it's like friends before. Oh, by the way, welcome to Positively Board Gaming, where people dress in similar shirts and talk about the games they love and the people that are part of this industry. Thank you for joining us. Episode 18, I believe. We're getting so close
18.
to the magic.
Is it 18 or 17?
Is it 17?
I have 17.
Hold on, let me start again. Welcome to episode 17. See how flexible I am, Jamey, and so limber. I can just roll with the punches. Thank you, Jamey. Episode 17. He's just not just a great designer and a pretty face. He also remembers things that my aging brain does not. So, episode 17. Jamey, this is going to be a big episode for several reasons. More than anything, I almost want to call this the Jamey episode because I have so much I want to ask you. And this is the one time where I think I may know what your topic is. Crazy thought there. Before we start, do you have a before we start?
I have a treat of the day and I have a main topic.
Okay.
Why don't you go for your what's your before? I have something, but it's not. Yeah, go for what is yours? What is yours?
So I'm going to ask you a question, and here's why I'm asking you this question. This is the before we start. I think since we've known each other, since we got to know each other through doing this, either on the radio side or on the podcast side like this, we've talked about the crossover between your industry and mine. Board game design, board gaming industry, and film and television world that I came from on the acting side. And we found some crossover, I think, when we were talking about the challenges of taking an IP that you really love. For you, it was Red Rising and the responsibility of, oh my God, I love this franchise and I know I'm going to be a part of it. I don't want to mess anything up because I'm such a fan. And I felt the same way when I found out I was going to be Donatello. I didn't want to be the turtle that screws up the whole franchise. So we had some crossover before with how our industries sort of crossover. And there is some crossover, I think, right now as well. When you are part of a project, if I'm making a TV show, making a movie, and you're going through the whole process of, it's being written, it's being produced, it's finally being shot, it's being edited. And then there's a time when it's out there. Yeah. All the work is done and it's out in the world, and it's exhilarating. It's frightening. It's wonderful, but there are so many emotions going through your mind and through your body. You're smiling right now. So now that, you're sort of on the, people are, their games are starting to ship.
You're talking about Vantage.
I was going to get to that. Vantage is starting to ship. I was getting to Vantage. Now that it's kind of out there and almost, by the way, I got a shipping notification already. It's happening so fast.
Nice.
Yeah, I got it yesterday. It was weird. Good weird, not weird. How are you? Because there's that, and it's a genuine how are you? Because there's that, like I said, there's so much that goes through the process of getting to the point where, and here we are.
Yeah.
How are you now that you're sort of on the other side of it? What's going through your mind, and what have you been feeling?
Well, I do still feel like I'm in the middle of it. I know I have created the thing is made, but we're still shipping it. People don't have it yet.
Some people have had it and reviewed it. Some people have, but yeah.
A few reviewers do have it. And I guess people like you, a few people have gotten shipping notifications, but it's going to be a busy shipping month of July. So I still feel like I'm in the middle of it. Overall, I feel really good, very excited. Like I've put 8 years of my life into this project.
Yes.
I strongly believe in it. It is very different than anything that I've ever done or that we've ever done. And
that anyone has ever done, really. Not to, I don't think there's anything like it out there, honestly.
It is pretty different. Yeah, there are certainly some similarities, but it's very different, I think, than many other games that have been done, especially on the tabletop.
Yes.
So yeah, I am feeling overall very good. I will say one interesting question that I noticed that is, I know we stay positive. I will put a positive spin on this.
Oh no, let's do it.
I found that it's interesting. It's always interesting to me how people's passion or excitement for something manifests in different ways. Yes. And one of those ways that I've seen for this particular project is people saying, "Are you going to do another one? Are you going to make an expansion?" And I found,
dude, we just
I appreciate that. I know that it's coming from a place of passion and excitement. But
right.
I found as more people ask me, and I found myself finding kind of tensing up whenever I saw that question, and I realized I've spent 8 years of my life on this. I've made it. I want you to play it. I truly don't want to think about the next thing yet. This is the thing. I've made the thing. Let's talk about the thing. Let's play the thing. And so that's been interesting to me. That's an interesting way, I think, for passion to manifest. That people want to talk what's next, even before they've played the thing that I've spent so long making. Yeah. Do you understand this? Like, can you relate
No,
to this?
no, of course.
Yeah.
My first reaction was, dude, we're not, dude. The game hasn't even reached your tabletop and you're asking
Yeah.
about the, I mean, you know, and I get it. Like you said,
Yeah.
there is an excitement, but I wonder if that's sort of baked into the gamer lust. We'll call it gamer
Mm-hmm.
lust, or that sounds as a different connotation, but that does, maybe it's, you know, the fear of missing out, a fear of not having everything. Phone me, what do we call it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Phone he. And everyone wants to make sure that, okay, if there's more, I want to know about it. I have to know about it. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's not like the game has been out for even 3 to 4 to 6 months where you can say, okay, I've gotten a taste of this. I
Right.
see where this is going, and I never want it to end. I know if I
Yeah.
play it 100
Right.
times, it'll start to repeat, and I might see some stuff that I've seen before, maybe not, maybe so. I want more. So I get it. Like you said, it's coming from a good place, but
Mhm.
wow, let's just talk about like being in the moment and just appreciating what you have and
Be in the
appreciating.
moment. That's
Yes,
exactly what it
be in
is.
the
Yeah.
moment.
Let's
Yeah.
be in the moment. Yeah.
And for you, again, it's like you're just at a point where you can sort of like exhale a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
because the game is finally shipping and you're like,
Yeah.
now let's just wait and see. I'm looking forward to hearing how different people respond. That's what I look forward to.
Yeah.
I don't, and again, I'm sure you don't do it for this reason. I don't do it. I didn't make movies and TV shows to get that, oh, you're wonderful. We love you. You're so funny. It's like, no, you do it because you enjoy it, because
Yeah.
you enjoy bringing joy to people in different ways. And I'm sure you have the same reasoning. So there is just that's sort of like that exhale of, okay, I'm interested in seeing the way this is received because this was my intention. And again, we talk about intention versus how something's received, and you can apply that to anything in life, right? The intention was, okay, I wanted to bring joy in this form, have an exploration game that brought people a feeling at a table they've never had before. And I can't wait to see if people receive it the same way that I created it, or maybe in different ways that, oh my God, I never saw that coming. That's so cool. I didn't think of that when I was designing it, but man, absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, so there's that excitement for that. And it's just, you want to be able to just bask in that a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
let's give Jamey a year off. Not that that's happening, because I'm sure you're working on 12 other games right now simultaneously, or, you know, working with other designers as a publisher that, you know, for 12 other Stonemaier games that will come out over the next, 16, 18 months. So yeah. And that's you know what? Yeah, we're going to get to board games in a second. This touches on something that really resonates with me. And that's why I'm going to take a second to bring it up. One of the things I loved my industry. I love making movies and TV shows. The thing that I didn't like about, and I still don't like about my industry, and this is a very personal thing. So actors out there, you might not look at it the same way.
Mhm.
I felt like I never got to enjoy, and this is right in what we're talking about. I always felt like I didn't get to appreciate in the moment what was happening. A show that I was working on, whether a play that I was in, a movie that I was making. It was hard to be in the moment all the time and enjoy it, because in the back of your head, because you know as an actor, whether that thing lasts a month, a day, a year, 5 years, you know eventually it will end. And as an actor, because nothing is guaranteed and you always have to have the next project, it sort of colored the way you viewed. I can't enjoy this. I can't appreciate this moment because I have to worry about when this is over in a year, what's the next gig that I'm going to have that's going to take care of my family, that's going to support me, that's going to sustain my profession. So that's the one thing I didn't like. It was hard to enjoy the moment and get comfortable, because you could never get too comfortable, because you know in the back of your mind it's always going to end and you have to secure the next thing. And that really sort of ties into this. This is more from a customer/fan perspective and not a design, so that really resonates with me, because I understand that as a creator of things, I understand that. So that's sort of, that has some tie into what you're saying as well.
Yeah, and I think for both the answer is similar to, or not the answer, but part of it is, as you said, if you can try to enjoy the moment that we're having, enjoy the thing
that's a takeaway.
That is right now, the thing that we have right now. I really like that you said that. I like the way you said that. Yeah.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. Listen, I forget that as someone that goes through that all the time. I sometimes forget, it's like, man, I really have to enjoy this because it could be gone in a week or so. I want to have fun with this. I know I will work again at some point. It might be tomorrow. It might be 6 months from now. But I just want to enjoy this. I'm having so much fun with these people in this time at this moment. So yes, for all of you excited about Vantage or any other game or any other thing in life that's giving you joy, don't forget to enjoy it. And that is a positive spin, I think, that we can put on it. Don't forget to be in the moment and enjoy it, because you'll have plenty of time to worry about the expansions. I'll be on Jamey before anybody, like, Jamey, I want more. I'll be whining on the podcast. So yes, I love that. So let's get to even more pleasant stuff. You said you had a treat. And I want to know what it is.
I do. And let's go with my treat. We'll segue into my topic.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Norway today. And so why don't we do your treat first, and then I'll talk about Norway for a little bit.
I'll make it quick. I used to live in Woodland Hills, California, which is about 20 miles east of where I am right now. And even though it's pretty close, we don't go there as much as we used to, because a lot of our lives revolve around where we are right now. Mm-hmm. And we went for a haircut. Well, I should say a hair's cut, because I got both of my hairs cut. Don't both of them look amazing right now? Thank you. I know you're all thinking, wow, look at those hairs, so magnificent and proud. The three that stand up in the front. And going back, we had our favorite restaurants, living in Woodland Hills for like 20 something years. We had our favorite little haunts. So there are two places in particular we used to get food. There was California Pita, which served like this great lemon chicken plate that we loved, and falafel and hummus. We always used to go there and get dinner from there. And then Dan's Super Sub, which has been around for decades, the best sub sandwiches I've ever had, bar none. And my son and I were going for our haircuts, and he's like, what do you think? Do you think we could pick one up? And I said, well, I'm kind of craving this. He's like, let's get both.
Ooh.
Like animals. We got subs, we got pita and rice and lemon chicken. And I was like, oh, this is delicious. It was the best. So it was a dinner treat, but it was something that we hadn't done in a long time. We hadn't had that pita and lemon chicken for like years, and it was the best. So now, Jamey, I turn it over to you with your combo platter of food and topic.
That actually segues even better. I love that you did that. It segues even better into my topic, which was that I recently went on a gaming cruise from Southampton to the fjords of Norway and then back to Southampton. I have a lot of little things to cover here and there, but the reason that segues so well is that this is my first sea cruise, or cruise in general. And I learned rather quickly that when they serve you food on a cruise, you can ask for whatever you want. Like you can ask for, like, they have on the menu, they have a bunch of appetizers, entrees, and desserts. But if you want 5 appetizers, you could order 5 appetizers. It's all included in like what you've already paid for to be on the cruise. And so there were many times on the ship where Megan and I were like, oh, like, what are you getting? What am I getting? What do you want? What do you want? And we would end up getting a lot of different things. We try to be not wasteful about it, which is, I think, of course, also hard on a cruise, because there's a lot of food. But yeah, there were many times where we ordered, I think that one restaurant we did literally order 5 appetizers, and then shared 1 entree, and then both got a dessert.
That's my kind of meal, though. I like a lot of different smaller things, and then we share one bigger thing. That's how Tracy and I eat too.
So I love that. I love variety when I eat. I like you said, I like lots of little bites of things. So yeah, we ate well on this cruise. My little treat of the day that wasn't necessarily on the cruise, I wanted to show you 2 fun candies that I picked up. One is a Norwegian candy bar that has, I believe it's hazelnuts in it. It might be, let's see what this is. It's called Lover, and I can't pronounce the main name. The brand is Freya. And what does this says? I believe it's a hazelnut candy bar. Okay,
I love hazelnut chocolate, by the way. Yeah.
And then I think you'll love this name. We found a bunch of fun named British things. These are the Cadbury Nibbly Fingers.
Nibbly fingers. So you couldn't name that in America, because someone would sue you for eating off their own hand. They'd eat their own digits and sue you. Those look amazing, by the way. They have like a cookie underneath? Is it a chocolate-covered cookie?
Chocolate bar with the chocolate cookie. Yeah, little fun British treat there. We picked up a lot of little chocolate treats in both Norway and London on this trip.
Oh, that's amazing. And by the way, great chocolate in both locations. Norwegian chocolate, and in the UK they have amazing chocolate as well. So
really great chocolate in both places. Yeah. So the cruise was great for, I think, 2 reasons. One, we got to see a beautiful part of the world from a perspective, being on the boat, looking out at the fjords, and then stopping at these little towns in Norway that I would not have gotten, even if I had visited Norway otherwise. I doubt I would have gone to these particular towns, because they are deep into the fjords. They're on the coast. I had a beautiful time, like, exploring those little cities and going on some beautiful hikes in those areas. Okay. And I also really enjoyed the cruise. This is my first cruise. The food was very good, but it was also really neat to have a gaming community on the cruise, where there were 200 of us on this cruise of at least 3,000 to 4,000 people on the greater boat. Yeah. But we had this giant conference room where we just played games all day, especially on the 3 sea days, but also in the evening. And the people were incredible. Like, I just can't tell you how delighted I was by the 200 people that I was surrounded by in this room for a week. I could not have spent a week with better, more fun, more welcoming people. That really, that even more than the games that we played, that made it really special. But I did want to call out quickly 4 games, since we are a gaming podcast a little bit.
Yes.
I really enjoyed. 3 of them are actually nautical related or even fjord related. One of them isn't. One is called Bomb Busters. Have you heard of Bomb Busters by any chance?
Yes. Is that the diffusing game?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I've heard of this. Yes. Everyone I know loves it. Everyone I've heard loves this thing. Yeah.
I think you would enjoy it too. It's a really neat cooperative puzzle game where you're trying to defuse a bomb based on limited information. I really enjoyed that. And then the 3 that were nautical related were Saltfjord, Farshore, and Port Royal. Farshore is like the sequel to Everdell. It's Everdell 2.0. In my opinion, it really does improve on Everdell, and Everdell is a game that I already really love.
Yeah.
Port Royal is a game that Port Royal, the dice game specifically. It's a push your luck game that we played near a game store in Haugesund, Norway, with a local gaming group. It was just a wonderful time playing this game. And then Saltfjord may have been like the medium weight highlight for me. Because we were in these fjords, and it's a reimagining of Santa Maria, an older game. But a really cool dice drafting game where you are drafting a die and then using that die to activate either a row or column. And there's a bunch of benefits in that row or column. And you can, instead of drafting a die, you can instead buy a tile to place that improves that row or column. So there's this great tension between, do I draft the die now and gain the benefits that I have currently, or do I improve like the number 3 and then draft the 3 die so I can get more stuff from that? But will that 3 die still be there, or will another player have taken it? Really great tension between those 2 elements in the game.
Did it give you any, I'm sorry to just want to jump in. Did it give you any role player vibes at all, or no? Because the theme was so different, obviously.
I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
Not really, because the dice are drafted temporarily. You draft them, you activate them, and then at the end of the round, they all go back to the draft.
They don't sit on your tableau. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah. They sit temporarily on the tableau, but not round to round.
Right.
But overall, the games were awesome, and the people made them even more awesome, which is something that I love about the gaming community in general. So that was my gaming cruise experience. Have you ever been on a cruise, or did any of that sound fun to you?
You know what? You're making it sound a lot of fun. I'm not particularly a cruise guy. My brother Lee and his girlfriend Nicole, who just been texting me, I better go check that after we're done. They love going on cruises, and their friends Vincent and Janet, they're always going. In fact, his best friend Vincent and Janet, they had their wedding on a cruise. I've been on a couple of cruises, short ones, when I was overseas. And I don't know. I'm not claustrophobic. I don't get seasick. But for some reason, like being trapped on a boat for days at a time, I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me as much. But if this were a purpose trip, like where I'd get to see beautiful things and be a part of like a board game, this is the kind of thing that really appeals to me. Like a board game cruise, sometimes that sounds like the perfect way to reintroduce me to being on a boat. If I was going to be trapped on a boat with great people playing great games, I'm in. And by the way, you talk about like wastefulness when it comes to eating on a ship. It's like, Jamey, you have nothing to worry about, because under gluttony in the dictionary is a picture of a cruise, people eating on a cruise. Because again, when you're on that boat, what are you going to do? You can only walk around so much. It's like, let's have another meal. We've already had 3 breakfasts. Well, so let's get a 4th. I don't care. So no, I get it. But I like the fact you were, of course, trying to not be wasteful. But, that's the one thing I do remember being on a boat. There was so much food, any kind of food you want. It almost looked like something out of Willy Wonka. You just look around the room with your eyes like saucers, like, oh my God, what can I do here? But I would examine going on a gaming cruise. I can't believe I've never said those words out loud. You're opening me up to new experiences, Jamey Stegmaier. I would definitely try that. I would try that.
There are multiple BGG at sea cruises. The guy, Jeff, who runs them, who is incredible. He's a great guy, great organizer. He runs a bunch of them every year. There's also the Dice Tower cruise. But this has made me think that maybe someday we might try to do a Stonemaier at sea cruise excursion coordinated by Jeff. Jeff said that he's happy to coordinate it. And find one of these ships that can fit 200 people, because I think that's a good number. And if we do that, it would be amazing if I know that's like hypothetical.
I'm in
the future, depends on the
I'm in.
location, timing,
Yeah.
all that. But
No, I'll fly.
it'd be pretty
I'll
cool.
go.
You'll go.
I have time. Yeah. I'll make it happen. And by the way, Stonemaier at Sea is an amazing name. That needs to be what it's called. Don't anyone go take that website. Meanwhile, people are like taking that website right now. I'm going to take it. Stonemaier at Sea. I love that idea, and I'd be all in. I love that.
Well, what's on your mind today, Mitchell? I know that, yeah.
Strangely enough, we have a little crossover.
Oh, yeah?
Just not so, in spirit. And I thought of this because we've talked about the joy of teaching games to people and having people learn a game that you like or play a game that you recommended and love it. And I thought, maybe we can, between us, and this is one where I'd love to hear whether you're listening on, Jamey's YouTube channel for Stonemaier Games or listening to the podcast. We'd love to get feedback from you and hear what you would add to this. Tips for teaching games. Now, it seems like a very simple thing on the surface. Again, it's like, how many, but it may not be the things that I'm going to come up with. And I'm hoping, Jamey, you chime in because you probably know better than I. Maybe different sort of gaming teaching tips than you might expect to hear from someone. So I'm going to start off. I have like 4 little pointers here. Okay. The first one is when I sit down to learn a game, we're playing this game. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to set up your board. You're going to take 3 I'm like, oh, hold on. Already I'm lost. And I'm not lost because I don't understand, set up your, but what is the game about? Yeah. What am I playing? What is this? Oh, I'm sorry. This is a game where we're going through the countryside and we're going to use, these things represent our workers, and these workers the idea is to have as many of your workers spread out across the countryside in your color and dominate each region. Oh, okay, great. Mm-hmm. From that point on, I have an overview of what the game is. And now when someone is showing me the components, when someone is saying, here's how we're going to start, because I think some people tend to, again, they want to jump right in and like get to okay, here's what it's like. I'm more of a big picture person. Give me the big picture first. The other thing is, I think sometimes when we teach games, and I'm guilty of this as well, and I have to think to myself, don't do this. Never assume that the person you're teaching has any idea of what you're about to say. What I mean by that is, I always tell people, it's like, look, I'm going to explain this game to you, and don't think I'm being condescending or I'm treating you like an idiot. I just don't assume that because somebody will say, okay, now when we get to this part of the game, it's just like a typical, deck builder. You know how that works, So, and then they just go on like, oh, if I didn't know what a deck builder was, you're going to have a bunch of cards and you're going to rotate through these cards and then you're going to add to the deck and you're going to pull, they're going to reshuffle. If you don't know what that mechanism is, what the classic deck builder mechanism is, then you're going to be lost. So I would say to people, number one, start from the beginning with overview, and then don't assume that people necessarily know some of what you're going to say and gloss over it. Because I think that happens sometimes. We tend to think that people know what we know. And does that happen with you sometimes? Or someone will say, okay, well, this is just like that game. So it's just like that game. So think about that. It's like, I've never played that game. Could you explain how that works to me? I think sometimes we assume when we're explaining that people might know more than they do.
Well, and even when you do say that, like there are lots of different versions of deck builders now. So I think it's worth saying this is like a deck builder. You're drawing 5 cards. You're going to play as many as you want. Then you're going to discard those cards and draw 5 more. Like even just saying it very briefly like that clarifies what subset of that deck builder you were talking about.
Yeah. And I think it's like that with anything. It's like, even when I explain, when I'm teaching somebody something else, I never assume they have a piece of, oh, that's so obvious what I'm about to tell you. So I'm not going to, it's so obvious I'm not going to tell you. So I don't want you to, and it's like, no, I want you to tell me. And then I can always say, oh yeah, I know how that works. Okay, go on. I actually know how that's, so we're good. Okay, cool. But I want to make sure that I don't gloss over something because it's something that I know. I don't want to assume that you know as well. You could always tell me, hey, I got that. Good. Let's move on. We're always good. So now we're getting to interesting. Okay. Oh, the next thing I said. Some people don't like to do this, and I think it depends on the kind of game, Jamey. Mm-hmm. I think having a practice round is always a great thing, so people can see the flow of the game. If it's a game that allows a practice round, even if it's a competitive game, you can still show a practice turn. What does a turn entail? And everyone's going to take a turn and have the same 3 things they can do. So let me take a practice turn and show you those 3 things so I can actually physically show you how the game works. And yeah, it might add like 10 or 15 minutes to the teach or to the table experience, but that person, rather than just having a verbal and oral reception of what they're, there's nothing like seeing it, feeling it, touching it, and having that quick experience for showing someone how the flow of how something works.
And
And then
a
no, go
version of
ahead.
that, oh yeah, a version of that I often do is that I will walk players through a first turn, like we'll all take a first turn.
Yes.
It'll either be the same type of turn or maybe it'll be a little bit different from player to player so I can show different concepts. And then I'll stop and I'll say, does anyone want to undo, now that now that you've seen what it looks like, does
Right.
anyone want to undo that or do you want to keep it or you keep on going? Either way is
That's
fine.
awesome.
And that way players have that choice. They have more information. They can revert if they want. If they're happy with what they did, we can keep on going too. So
I
it's
love that.
essentially a practice round, but it could be real if we want to keep on going.
I like that. That's actually that's a great addition. I didn't think of that, but that is a nice way of keeping it going if you want to, while
Right.
not making anyone feel like they're being punished because they didn't do the right thing, or like, oh, now that I
Exactly.
understand that better, I wish I hadn't done that. That's a
Yeah.
great addition to that. Um, the last thing is, and this comes into teaching slash, I think it could be under the banner of like alpha gaming. And for people who don't know what alpha gaming is, like there's one person at the table that really knows the game, and under wanting to help you, they sort of can look like they're trying to take over your turn, say, oh no, you need to do this, or you should probably do this, because this is what especially if it's a cooperative game, you'll see more alpha gaming in cooperative games where people know, okay, if we're all have a common goal on your turn, I need you to do this in order for my turn to be successful. So make sure you do that. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I understand.
Yeah.
So rather than telling people, could you do this? Because and again, there are going to be some games where there is communication among players where you can say, hey, on my turn, I have this card to play. If you can open up the door for me to be able to do this, that would be awesome. And that's not alpha game. That's communicating, like, especially if it's a game where you can communicate and it is cooperative. Hey, I have to do this. Can you help me with it? That's sort of different. Rather than tell people what moves in a traditional game, like, here, you need to do this. This would be a better move for you. I reiterate the goals. I tell people, okay, so here's what should I do here? It's like, well, here's what we're trying to do. The idea is for you to have as many of this resource. If you want to do this, you're going to need this resource. And later on, you're going to want to have more of these. So at this point in the game where this is the focus, what do you think would be best to do? So then you're not telling them what to do. You're in a way, you're enhancing the teach. You're reminding them what the goals are at that moment or at the beginning of a game, to help them make their own decision. Like, oh, okay, I see that. Well, I think I should probably play. I was like, that's a great move. Go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's better. Because again, when you're telling someone to like, just do this and you'll be fine. You'll be glad you did. That's great. And that's being helpful, but it doesn't help the person understand why they need to do that. Why do they need to do that? Why is that going to help me later in the game? So rather than telling people what to do, I try to tell people, okay, here's what the goals are. Here's what you're looking to long-term, short-term. What do you think would benefit you right now as opposed to later in the game? And usually people are like, oh yeah, so I think that, like, yeah, and people tend to be tentative, like you're not sure, but so I'm sort of more reminding people of, sort of reestablishing the rule set and the goals rather than just say, hey, do this, in which case, yeah, they can do that, but they won't know why, and it might not help them later in the game. Am I crazy, Jamey?
No, one of my favorite ways to do that too is, and it's definitely in addition to what you just said, not by itself.
Yeah.
But I often take when it gets to be my turn in a game, in a teaching game, and if I'm the teacher, I will often use my turn as an example. Like I'll do something that people haven't already done, and I'll talk about it out loud as I'm doing it, and I'll explain why I'm doing these things so they can get an idea of, okay, they're seeing an example in action in real time. And if they decide they want to do the same thing for the reasons I've explained, they can, or they can do something else on their turn.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And listen, listen, everyone, and I'm putting this out there. And again, I'd love to hear little teaching tips or little tricks that you have to help people's experiences at the table, even to help your own experience at the table. Because I'm going by things that I have sort of thought of myself or things that people have done to help me at the table. It's incredibly personal. Everyone has a different technique for teaching. And listen, everyone learns differently. And that's something that another thing we should add is not everyone learns the same. Not everyone absorbs information the same way. Some people need to hear the rules. They process the rules in their head. They then take that transition from processing in their head to feeling it on the table with the pieces. Okay, I'm getting this. I'm good. Some people don't make that connection as easily. Some people actually need to physically go through it in order to make that connection.
Yeah.
So you just be aware that people have different ways that they process information, and people that seemingly don't get it when they ask a lot of questions with the rules, because the rules are just sort of out in the nether. They're not related to anything they're physically seeing at that moment. And maybe that physical manifestation of that rule, that turn, something is going to click for them. So don't assume because people aren't getting it just by reading it to them that they won't get it as soon as they played a turn or two. Suddenly, I think I'm more of a tactile learner. As soon as I play a
Yeah.
turn, I'm like, oh, I get it now, and you're in trouble. But because at the beginning, and again, as you know, I forget rules. So I tend to sort of reestablish, have to go over rules over and over. Once I've sort of, once it's baked in, I'm much better about it. So yeah, these are, different ways of teaching for different people.
I noticed on our cruise, I learned a fairly complex game called Galactic Cruise.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's supposed to be a good one. I've never played it. Yeah.
It's a game that a lot of people are talking about right now. I was really happy to play it, especially on a cruise ship. And Jeff, the guy who was coordinating the convention, really loves Galactic Cruise and offered to teach it. And I really like that he asked a question before he even started, where he looked at the table and he said, do you all prefer to know all the rules up front, or do you prefer to learn as you play and let me layer on the rules? My preference when I teach or play is to layer on the rules as I go. Like you, I need to actually be taking turns to really retain that information. And there was someone else at the table who didn't want to learn that way, that their preferred way is to know all the rules up front. And I think, so I love that Jeff asked that question as the teacher. B, I think it's a tough situation when you have two different people, two different playing styles, and you're teaching someone who wants to learn on the fly or someone who wants to know all the rules up front. That puts the teacher in a tough position. I thought Jeff did a good job of doing that.
Okay.
But that's a hybrid position that you're putting in, where you need to balance the two. I think you can't.
Right.
Yeah. So but I love that question in general. I love asking people what style they prefer to learn in.
And yeah, and it's just, it's not a sensitive thing, but it's very personal is the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. We talk about reinforcing things through memory. And I think there is definitely a connection between hearing and listening and physical action. And that's why when it comes to school, taking notes was such an important thing, because you're reading information, but also writing it. There's something about writing it down that reinforces that physical connection. It's more of a visceral connection between something you hear and see versus something you write down. It helps me absorb better having that connection. Even if you're, I know in class now, everything, and I guess maybe when I went to school also, but I didn't do that. People like to record lectures, but when you're transcribing that lecture, I encourage you to transcribe it, or transcribe the important parts of it that you need for test or for study, because in doing that, it really does, the writing of it does reinforce. Because if you're that kind of a learner, you may not know you're that kind of a learner for games, for anything. And that tactile aspect really for a lot of people is the whole key. So if you're having trouble absorbing information, if you're in school and you've just been doing it visually, try the tactile element. Another way the board gaming can help. Try that tactile element and see if that doesn't help solidify the information from hearing and seeing to the written words, having that tactile feel. I think some people may not even know that they're better off learning that way, or they're wired to learn that way. You see what Positively Board Gaming does, Jamey? We're here for you for school too. Remember, do your homework.
I'm really glad that you mentioned your first point about giving the overview. I often forget to do that, especially for games I know really well. I taught Finspan 3 times on this cruise, and I'm pretty good at teaching Finspan, but I think every time I forgot. Looking back now, I never started with, hey, you're building an ocean of fish that you're researching. And like, I didn't do that. I skipped over that part. And people were fine, but I regret that now. And so I appreciate the reminder for that really is an important part, giving that context at the beginning of what we're doing, a little bit about why we're doing it, and then jump into those details.
And that's just for me. That's like, some people have no problem. They just want all this stuff. They want their player board. They want their bits. Like, okay, just all right. Let's I don't have to know anything. Just sort of let's show me how a term works. I'm like, no, I want to hear the story. What's the story? Are there fishies in the ocean? Do I get to collect the fishies?
Am I catching the fishies, or am I looking at the fishies? There's
exactly.
a big difference there.
Very big difference.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great topic. I am very curious to hear what people say in the topic. Maybe let us know your number one teaching tip, the thing that you really embrace when you teach games. I'd love to hear about that. And if you have, I know I asked this on my live cast, but I'll ask it again. If you have a destination for Stonemaier at sea, if we do that in the future, let me know that in the comments. I'd love to. So far, I think the top picks were Alaska and the Baltics, but that could change if you answer differently in the comments. We'll see.
Well, I would say Italy. That's just me.
You'd say Italy? Italy would be really cool.
It would be actually perfect for one of your games.
That's for viticulture.
Yeah. I would go as far to pack my big crate.
Oh yeah.
I would pack my big crate in its own suitcase because it deserves it. Yeah, yeah. And no, I'm not just. I think not just because I haven't been to Europe. I'm just saying I think it'd be really pretty. Anyway, I digress. Jamey, thank you. Well, first of all, welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy game launch, happy Vantage launch. As Jamey said, people are going to be getting their games, and I know, and I'm really glad you told people, you gave the caveat, if you're also ordering the extra bits, that has to be coordinated, so that those have to be there and ready to go and packed. So people may be getting, if you just ordered a game first, they may just be getting the game first if that's all you ordered. And that's funny because that's what I ordered for my brother. He's listening to this. You didn't buy me the bits? No, I didn't. I bought you the game and that should be enough. You have to buy your own bits, dude. So he got his, I got the shipping notification for his copy heading to New York right now. Mine is waiting until I got the, the wooden pieces and the player board. So I know I'm glad that you let people know in advance. So they're like, hey, how come my friend? And I was like, well, first of all, everyone gets in a different order anyway, but it's a nice thing to know. And it's definitely worth waiting for. So congratulations. Welcome home. Next week, we turn 18. I'm very excited to see what that extra year brings to us, how we've matured completely. And again, I appreciate this in the moment. I don't take it for granted that we get to do this every week because nothing is guaranteed. Next week is never guaranteed. So I'm very appreciative that we do this together. Thank you. And I will see you on our 18th birthday.
I'll see you then, Mitchell. Take care.